is Youth Friday.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's one of my favorite days. We get to listen to the youth. And a lot of our young people are doing so many amazing things. It is so impressive because I think about when I was a youth.
You tell us something.
I wasn't thinking about like pouring into the world or saving the world, you know.
That's true.
Yeah.
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 The youth today are, you know what, and a lot of times, that's why Youth Friday is important because a lot of times society just down the youth and say that they're not doing anything. All they do is play video games. They're lazy. They don't want to work.
Or they're violent.
You know? And so, but this show on Fridays talks about how we could build up our community.
Yes.
And that's why F.D.R. Communications and F.D.R. Community Housing Foundation continues to feature young people.
Yes.
And
yes.
you know what's important about how we feature? Because from time to time, we not only have youth, but we have parents.
Mm-hmm.
Parents showing us how to support their young people.
Yes.
The people, their children.
These are some awesome parents because they have clearly set the example to their children and have been such a great support to them.
Mm-hmm. So it's important that, you know, if you want your children to be successful, you have to help them. I mean, you can't just birth them and leave them. You're
Right.
birth them and say, all right, figure this
You're on
out.
your own. Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Figure out life. I haven't figured it out, but you go figure it out.
Figure it out. And so
Yes.
today we have some special guests.
Yes, yes, we do. We have the Martyr family. We have Joyce Martyr, who is a therapist. She owned Urban Balance, which many people know about because there was tons of Urban Balance offices all over, and she is the brainchild behind Urban Balance, and she's written books. She's done amazing things, and so she has a daughter,
Yeah.
Claudia, who we're going to hear about, who is absolutely
We're
phenomenal.
gonna hear about and talk to her.
And meet with her.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. So please welcome
Yeah.
Joyce Martyr.
Joyce Martyr, Urban Balance. Is there some significance behind that name?
Hi, Representative Ford and
Hi.
Malika. Thank you for having me. And yes, I named Urban Balance because I felt that motherhood is my highest role. And I love my work as a psychotherapist, and I wanted a business that would support my own work-life balance as well as that of my staff and my clients. I think that's so important when so many of us are dealing with overwork and burnout. And so I chose that name and aimed to make therapy accessible and affordable by being insurance friendly.
So that's great. And parents, what do you see happening today with in society with parents? It seems to me that parents have always had a challenge, you know, especially new parents, you know, the first time, never knowing what to expect, having to balance life, like you said. But is it different today than yesteryear?
Absolutely. I mean, the past couple of years during the pandemic, especially with kids e-learning and virtual learning, hybrid learning, it's been extremely stressful. The research that shows, especially for working mothers and working parents, that really balancing their own jobs and homeschooling and dealing with the mental health of youth, which really has been in crisis even prior to the pandemic. And I think a lot of it is challenges with technology, kids being on screens much of the time, more social isolation, comparing themselves to others on social media. The pressure is very high for today's teens.
What are some symptoms of a person, a youth, a teen that might be, you should give us the terms. I don't want to say depressed. I don't want to use clinical terms, but what are some red flags that parents should be concerned about when they're, evaluating their child's mental and behavioral health?
Yes, well, first of all, I'm really passionate about destigmatizing mental health. We all have mental health as part of the human condition, and it's completely normal to experience distress from time to time. We are all hardwired genetically to experience whether it's stress, anxiety, depression, grief and loss, relationship issues. And so having mental health issues does not mean you're crazy or in crisis. So parents should look out for kids isolating, not finding joy in activities that were previously pleasurable, a decline in their grades, changes in weight or appetite, difficulty with sleep, either sleeping too much or not sleeping enough, and more conflict at home. That can be a sign that there's just more unhappiness and maybe some interpersonal issues going on for them. And the most important thing is to say something. Ask open-ended questions without judgment. Listen to your kids and get them help. I think every kid needs therapy, and I think every adult needs therapy. I have a therapist. I think we all can benefit from it at different points in our lives.
Yeah, you know, Malika, I was talking to a friend, and she has a teenager. And it's hard for parents to force their children to do something that the kid don't want to do. You know, they just want to stay in the room. They want to play the video game. They're happy. They don't want to go ride the bike. They don't want to play basketball. They don't want to do anything. And it's a struggle with the parents and the child to force the child. You know, my thought was, as a parent, you have the responsibility to do what's best for the child. Any advice to parents that when they see the child, I mean, the child is in the room alone all the time playing a video game, don't want to do anything, is that, we know it's unhealthy. I think it's unhealthy.
Yes.
But the child seems happy playing the game.
Yes, this is a very common challenge for many parents, and I wish there were an easy answer, but I think really to explore your kids' interests and support them. If they express an interest in music or art, rather than saying, oh, that's not going to lead to any successful career, you know, help them pursue that. And kids learn the most through modeling. So if we're on our phones and on our laptops working 80 hours a week, they won't think anything of being plugged into their technology or their video games because it looks just like what we're doing. So we need to model taking time to connect with nature, to unplug, to socialize with friends and family, and push through the resistance, and maybe offer some incentives if they agree to even one outing with the family.
Thank you.
That's some good advice.
It is.
Joyce.
I'm texting that right now.
That is some good advice. So, wow. So you have a daughter, Claudia, which many of us in the community have come to see her beautiful artwork. And then I just learned not too long ago that she raised all this money for leukemia. So your daughter is out there in the world. She's pouring her heart and soul out into the community, into the world. So that speaks volumes to your parenting. Absolutely.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I give Claudia all the credit. She is an amazing kid. I'm most proud of her compassionate heart and her desire to help others and be of service in the world. She is an impassioned social justice and racial justice advocate. She's volunteered to help with the environment at her school, Evanston Township, and like you said, raise money for leukemia and lymphoma. She just has a big heart and wants to help other people, and I'm very proud of her for that.
Yes, well, I think that was a pretty good introduction, but we brought you on so that you could introduce Claudia, because you know her better than anyone because you were there when she took her first breath. So
she was there when she was hitting her in the stomach.
Yes.
Tell us, how was she in the womb? Was she a feisty one? Is she much like she was now?
She was pretty easy. It was her older sister that was more challenging. So her older sister was 9 pounds and gives me a run for my money ever since. And Claudia's been a really easy, great kid. I mean, I'm certainly not a perfect parent. Claudia's not a perfect teenager because there isn't any such thing. We're all human. We all have our strengths and challenges. And I am really proud of her art. I'm grateful to your mother, Malika, Fran Joy, for being Claudia's mentor.
Very nice.
I think mentoring in the community is so important for kids as well. It certainly takes a village.
Yes. So without further ado, let's bring on the woman. Or young woman.
Young woman.
Young woman.
How old is she?
She's
I'm
17.
17.
All right, you got a long way to go, young lady.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, yes, Claudia. So, well, first I was impressed with your artwork, but when I learned that you're this deep individual that's even going even beyond the art world, raising money for leukemia and doing all sorts of things, I was like, when does she have time to just be a kid, be Claudia? But you are a phenomenal young woman. So tell us about the leukemia group that you're working with, that you're raising money for, and then let's get into that artwork because she was the youngest artist in one of the exhibits in Evanston, and everyone was crowding around her piece of Simone Biles. It was absolutely
you make
amazing.
some money?
Not necessarily,
All right,
but it
hello,
was
y'all.
a wonderful experience
Yeah.
and it brought me a lot of joy. So it was worth it for sure.
All right. You want to say something about your mom before you get started? Put her on the spot.
She's been a wonderful mother. She's done everything right. I love her so much.
Oh, have you ever heard a kid say that?
You know, at
My
17,
mom did everything right.
At 17, that's really remarkable that a young person would say that. Because normally at this age, parents don't know anything. And yeah, but my daughter, she's 18 and she
Well, your
she
daughter
would think-
says
she
the
says
same
pretty
thing.
good things. So, you know,
Yeah.
see, there are young people, you know, that's got their head on right.
Yes.
And so we have one right here. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, welcome, Claudia. Welcome. So tell us about the raising the money for leukemia because I had an uncle that passed from leukemia. So this like really touched me, most definitely.
Yeah. It was a really exciting opportunity. My friend was a candidate for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society Student of the Year contest. It's a contest where you put together a team and you work together to raise the most money out of like all the teams in your state. And then there's also a national competition. And we ended up raising money from over 715 donors, and we raised $120,000 for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Wow.
We won the competition, and it was a wonderful experience.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Over $100,000?
Yeah, $120,000.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
It was super meaningful, and we did it all in honor of her dad, who still struggles with, he has a form of leukemia that has been ongoing for quite some time. It started around like 10 to 15 years ago. It went away for a bit, and sadly it's back, but we really appreciated doing this for him. It felt really meaningful knowing that it was going towards someone we all know and love.
Well, one of the things that I think that Malika is a friend of your family, and we work very closely together, and we worked on public policy in Springfield. So, you know, if you have ideas about leukemia legislation, things that you've seen in the state law that you think should be adjusted and fixed, I think that we could do it in honor of your friend's father. So just let us know.
That would be absolutely wonderful. I'm sure her and her family would be thrilled.
Yes. So what, you're a rising senior?
I am. It's very exciting. I just turned 17 actually in May. I'm really excited to head into senior year.
Oh, Malika, she's running the school now.
Yes. Yes.
The day she's been waiting on, you know. I mean, we look forward to going to be a freshman, but after we become a freshman in high school, all we care about is being a senior.
Right.
And
Right.
that's it. I mean, who looks forward to being a sophomore? Oh, I can't wait to be a junior. It's like, let me be a freshman for one day, and let me go straight to
Right.
senior, because who wants to be a freshman?
Right. Back in my day, they used to throw pennies at the
Yeah,
freshmen. Do
yeah.
they still throw pennies at the freshmen?
No.
They don't do that corny stuff. I mean, we used to knock the all boys school, and we would knock the books out of the boys' hands, and so that they could be late for class. You see how corny we were? And then, so what do y'all do?
Nothing much. We're a pretty big school, so kind of it's easy to find your people. It really feels like there isn't a lot of bullying that goes along at ETHS, because I mean everyone, like even like the weird kids and the people who have other interests that are different from everyone else, like it's very easy to find your people, and you can really create like a small community out of a bigger school, which I really like about it. But yeah, it's especially meaningful to be a senior this upcoming year, just because I lost so much of my high school experience due to COVID. And it really, truly, it still feels like I'm a freshman. And I know that a lot of people say that, but I mean, I especially mean that, saying that I lost half of my freshman year and my entire sophomore year.
Yes. So are you making a recommendation today that you probably should just be a sophomore?
I'm very grateful that I'm not, but
you want to do it all over
like
again? You know, before we get to some more highlights of your career as a teenager and your work, I just want to ask a question. What are the challenges now that you're back in school post the serious COVID restrictions? What were the biggest challenges for teenagers? Because you had challenges before COVID.
Just being a teenager.
Just being a teenager in a big school. What were they, and what did it shift to?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like before COVID, it was more like trying to discover your identity and find your people and like try to navigate high school without like losing yourself. And I feel like now with like the entire COVID thing, it's more shifted to like finding yourself and really trying to connect with other people, because before it was more about like your personal experience, and now it feels like it's more of like we're more together now, because
That's
it
great.
feels like it's been so long since we've all been together, and it feels just all more important. It was really hard during COVID to learn, especially just because everything online. I mean, I was doing math off of Khan Academy. I wasn't really having a true experience with my teachers, and it really just, at least me, it really helped me appreciate getting to have like a regular education where you know your teachers, you know your classmates, you get to connect with everyone, and it really feels like a class bond instead of just looking at a screen and seeing a bunch of turned off cameras and muted mics. It's really made me appreciate a lot of that a lot more.
It's beautiful.
The human interaction. So it was a blessing to you to have a therapist in the house during COVID, and your dad's a therapist too, right?
No, he's a software engineer.
He's a software.
Yeah,
my
stepmom's actually a teacher, so it was nice getting to connect with her as well, because she understood the lack of having a structured classroom and how hard that was.
Yeah, it was a lot of parents that struggled during that time.
I think she's got some artwork.
Yes. So your art, I mean, did you do a lot of that work during the pandemic?
I would say so. I really tried to connect as much as possible with my art at a time where I felt so disconnected from so many other things. But
I mean, we're still in the pandemic.
From then.
Right.
Oh yeah. For sure. But yeah, I really tried to connect with my art then. I know I was getting a lot more commission pieces than normal, because I'm sure other people were feeling the same way. So it just felt
You were getting commission pieces. You were getting commission pieces.
Yes.
Do we
that's
have some
money.
art? Yeah. Do we have some art to see?
Yes.
Oh
yes.
yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
let's see it.
All right.
And while you're bringing it up, you know, what's your website would like to know if there's a website that people could visit your artwork.
Um,
Okay, it was
my
not for
website-
sale. Yeah, yeah.
My website is a work in progress.
Okay, that's
I'm
fine.
pretty sure the
All right.
URL is going to be claudiamartyrart.com.
Very
Super
good.
easy. And my Instagram handle is the exact same minus the .com.
All right. All right.
I'm trying to figure out how to screen share.
Yeah, so, well, if you can't screen share it, then I think that we will, it seems like it might be coming through right now. You could do it now.
Are you able?
Yep, she just gave you access to screen share. And while you're doing that, yes, it seems to be maybe access.
I'm still denied.
Okay, maybe it's to your mom's. But so, Malika, your mother is an artist,
Yes.
and she sells art as well. And she's been a guest at your mom's art shows as well. And is that one of the places where people really flock to her?
That's where I first came to meet Claudia, was at an exhibit, and she had done this awesome painting
Let's
of
try to
Simone
share it while
Biles.
we're talking. Simone Biles, that's great. Yeah.
Ooh, it looks like I think I got it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
One moment.
Yeah, so she did a nice clip. So go ahead and talk us through it.
Yes, the Simone Biles
All of
piece.
those are her artwork there?
Yes.
Yes.
And
I've
she's
done
self-taught. She is self-taught.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, that's
Sure,
why she's so, wow.
Yes.
All
This-
right. So we can start with the Simone Biles piece, I guess. Since I'm sure that's the one I'm most known for.
Wow.
It's definitely one of the ones I'm most proud of. It has a lot of meaning to me. It was in the What is Racial Justice exhibition for Fran Joy, Malika's mom. And it really means a lot to me just because she has been through so much as a Black woman in the athletic realm. She literally made up multiple moves of her own that are now named after her. She has completed the Jericho, I think it's the double or triple pike, and she is one of the only gymnasts to ever attempt it, and she is the only gymnast who have attempted it in a competition. And her score was sadly downgraded just because of the color of her skin, and she was a woman, and they felt that if they had raised the score to any higher, that it would have been unfair to her competitors.
Oh, wow.
That was deep.
So now, do you think that the athletes, has she seen this?
I honestly could not tell you. I tagged her in the post. I tried sending it to her. I really hope it gets to her someday, but I don't know. Just knowing that I completed it is enough for me.
That's great. And self-taught.
And self-taught.
I mean, I
Yes.
gotta tell you, I don't know. It's just natural for you. We got another one, and we have another minute before we close out.
Yeah. I can show the other piece I did in one of the exhibitions. Here's me standing next to it. And this is the piece itself. It means a lot to me as well. This was an exhibition on invisible violence, and I did this piece on domestic abuse and like sexually charged violence. She's shown in a bikini because she's showing off her body and being vulnerable with someone, and the mask is to show that men have made her to pretend to be someone she isn't. The wings either represent death or her as an angel finding her freedom. The hands show how men really hold women up in society, or at least that's how society is built to be, that women are put on this pedestal of beauty instead of seen as who they truly are. The under construction sign shows that she's trying to work on herself
Oh,
and
that's
become a
great.
better person.
That's great. And
Yeah.
we're going to have to wrap there, but we're going to give you a closing statement because
That
we
was
were
deep.
very, very honored to have you. And we wish you all the very
I'm so
best.
honored to be here.
Yes, and we're supporters. So you want to give us a closing remark for people your age?
Just be who you are and try to help others do the same and discover their identity in a way that's healthy for everyone. And just try not to put people down, because it just makes things worse.
Amen.
Honestly.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Claudia. Thank you so much, Joyce. And that breakdown of that last painting was deep for a 17-year-old.
Oh my goodness, we could talk about that.
Goodness.
And we would love to have you again. This has been another episode of Chicago Hill. Take it easy. See you next week.
Thank you.